All right, guys, so we got to talk about resident MSDNC racist Joy Reid, who is going on this unhinged rant because Republicans and conservatives are concerned about the decline in U.S. birth rates, which is a big issue. It's a major issue, actually. Ever since the Great Recession, the U.S. birth rate has declined 22%, okay, from 2007 to 2022, we've seen a decline in birth rate in the United States. And that is a big issue. And one of the reasons why it is an issue is because it suggests that our population is not going to continue to grow. And this could cause quite a bit of issues, particularly when you're looking at the strain that it will cause on our social safety net, like Social Security. As the population ages, you're going to have more people dependent on the system while having less people to work and to support that system. Okay, it's called the age dependency ratio. And having a high age dependency ratio is generally not a great thing because, again, that means that your population of workers, people who actually are productive, is low, and you're not going to be able to support a vast social safety net when you don't have enough workers. Now, again, this is a big deal because population growth is essential to economic output of a country to a certain extent. Okay. I mean, generally speaking, the more people that you have, the more workers that you can have more productivity, you can have more scientists, doctors, and generally just great people to continue to progress society forward and to accelerate economic growth. Now, again, this is generally true when it comes to a high income country. Having steady population growth is a good thing, right? It continues to drive economic output. However, if you are a low income country, having a high population can actually slow your development. Okay, that's something that countries like in Africa, for example, are dealing with in regards to having too many people, but not enough income. Okay, that actually really slows down development and causes problems. Again, the United States, we're in the bracket of being a high income country where our population is not growing fast enough. And the Democrat solution to this problem is not through encouraging more nuclear families and having more kids and children to help grow the population. No. They actually want to import a new population of immigrants into this country, immigrants that are going to have a bunch of kids in order to sustain population growth in the United States. In fact, there are a ton of scenarios that have been talked about and how that can affect the overall U.S. population. Right now, we're at about 33 million and we're growing slower than ever. Okay. And if we have zero immigration, it is actually projected by 2100 that our population will decline to 226 million. With low immigration, 321 million, we still will have a decline in population. With main immigration, so I guess medium immigration, we can have 366 million. And with high immigration, 435 million. Now, again, you can kind of see why Democrats want to have open borders and to allow people into the country endlessly. Doesn't matter where they're from. They're not vetting these people. It's probably because of stuff like this, okay? That's probably a part of it. But I don't believe that the solution to this problem should be allowing mass immigration. No. The solution should actually be to encourage Americans to have more kids and more babies, which apparently is something that Joy Reid has an issue with. So I want to react to her unhinged rant about Republicans encouraging people to have more children, Americans to have more children. Probably because, again, the population problem is going to be a big deal. It's going to have a significant strain on our society. And it's definitely an issue that we should deal with. But I think Democrats are trying to deal with it in the wrong way. So let's get into it.
The United States has a population of north of 327 million people. Why do we need more kids? I mean, your party, Senator Tuberville, is the one screaming that 10 million immigrants, which I don't even know that number even makes any sense because it doesn't.
Well, what does that mean? Again, these people deny reality. This is why I call them reality deniers. Okay, we have had definitely more than 10 million illegals coming to this country since the Biden administration took over. Okay, and honestly, I think that's on the low side. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking 20, 30 million illegals that have come into this country that have been unaccounted for. Okay, but Joy Reid tries to act like that's a conspiracy theory, right? That's a conspiracy. I don't know if that number makes sense. Well, what are you talking about, Joy? We literally have 1 million people coming into the country per month. Of course, we've had over 10 million people come into this country illegally, okay, over the past 3 years.
Have streamed into the country since Joe Biden has been president, and you're claiming that that's too many people, that if more people come into the southern border, this is some sort of crisis because we've got too many people and we've got no more space and we can't afford more people. But now you're saying we need more kids? Can you explain?
Yeah, we can't explain it, right? Because maybe that blonde weave is on a little bit too tight. But yeah, what we're saying is that, yeah, we don't need more illegal immigrants, okay? We don't need people who are not Americans coming into this country, and we don't know where they're from. We don't know who they are. We're not vetting them. And some of them are coming to the country and they're causing problems. We're already seeing these issues that are manifesting themselves due to our lax immigration policies. You have police officers getting jumped and beat up in New York City. You have these gangs that are now operating within the United States from Venezuela. You had a young woman that was beat to death while going on a walk or a run on a college campus by an illegal immigrant. These are not good for society. You're introducing more problems and issues into our society. So yes, what Republicans are complaining about, what conservatives are concerned about is that, we may need more people in this country, right, to continue to grow our population, but we don't need it via importing new people. No, we actually need more people to have babies. Particularly, we need responsible families to have babies. That's actually what we really need, okay? Because we do have, demographics of people that are having kids that, quite honestly, I don't think should be having kids because they're not actually fit to be parents, but yet they're having a whole bunch of kids and the kids are living off the system and they're not really contributing positive to society. What we actually really need more of is nuclear families, strong families, mothers and fathers that are having tons of kids, right? We're talking about 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. That's what we really need more of in this country, okay? We really need a lot more of that. But because of the policies of the Democrat Party and our changing culture, we're moving away from that at a rapid pace, okay? And that is just contributing to the population stagnation problem that we're having. And this is why the culture war is so important, right? A lot of people question, why do conservatives fight the culture war? Well, it's because of our declining culture, right? And I'm calling it declining rather than changing because, again, it is declining, okay? We are changing for the worse from a cultural perspective. Because we're changing for the worse from a cultural perspective, that is contributing to the problems that we're having. And I personally believe that we need to reverse course now or else our country, we're going to fall off a cliff. I mean, we're already falling off a cliff, okay? When we're talking about the future of this country, the future of humanity, really, it is incumbent upon a return back to a culture of excellence, a culture that values the nuclear family, a culture of hard work, a culture of traditional values that promote the type of family structure that is going to be needed to have sustainable and positive economic growth and population growth over the long run, okay? Again, a lot of that really does come from having stable two-parent households that are having multiple kids, okay? And that is the key, right? But again, we don't have that anymore. That's not what's being promoted anymore. And again, it's a big problem, right? So this is why the culture war is so important.
Explain who's the we and what's the purpose? You're also a senator from the state of Alabama. God help the people there. Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids? Why does the state of Alabama need more kids? More kids for what? There was a time when the state of Alabama absolutely needed more kids because, Alabama was a slave state. And the mandate of the planter class in Alabama was for Black women to produce more kids because those kids were property. And they could work more kids and make more money on their plantations.
You know what's so funny about this? Joy Reid is always talking about slavery, right? At one point, she said that she deserves reparations because she helped build this country. When it's like, no, you're actually the child of immigrants, right? Like, your family is not from here. And I'm not one of these types of Black folks that come out here and wants people to show their papers and to prove where they're from if they're Black. I personally don't care. But when you're out here talking about reparations, okay, when you're out here always boo-hooing and crying about slavery when your family did not go through that, right? Like you have no ties or real connections to that. I just find it to be fascinating. I find it to be hilarious. It tells you everything you need to know about this grift, right? Because that's what it is. You're talking about something that you didn't go through, your family didn't go through, you have no relation to whatsoever, unless you're talking about the slavery that happened over there in Africa, right? Which is where at least I think half of her family's from. Again, but it's so funny how you try to act like you resonate with people in their families who do have a history of going through stuff like that. Again, it's amazing how that works. She talks about things that she can't relate to. It's so funny. But again, she's wearing, a blonde wig. So don't let the woke diatribe fool you. She has been thoroughly colonized, okay? And her master is the white liberal man, right? That is who she answers to, okay? So don't let this act fool you, okay? Joy Reid is as colonized as they come when you talk about black folks, okay?
Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids because you think that those populations will include people who are maybe destitute and desperate enough if you kick out the immigrants like a lot of y'all want to do, and you could make them do the work that the migrants are doing now? Because that kind of sounds slavery-ish.
So again, now, liberals, they're taking issue with conservatives saying, hey, we want to have teenagers like, 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. We want them to get more work experience, right? We want to push, teenagers to go into the workforce, okay? To work some of these jobs that, teenagers should be working, right? Minimum wage jobs, okay? That I think are good for the development of teenagers, understanding how to work, understanding the responsibilities of work, understanding, how to deal with money, paying taxes, being a responsible citizen, things like that. Nah, Democrats are boohoo whining, crying, and trying to say that's slavery, right? This is what they're saying, okay? This is what they're saying. This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about moving away from traditionalism, the type of traditionalism that I think made this society great in the first place. Because again, back in the day, right, a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old boy was basically damn near a man in regards to some of the responsibilities that you had to take on, because a lot of those young boys, young men, they were working at, young ages, okay? And I think that was a good thing, right? It is a good thing because you learn how to work, you learn how to survive, you build skills at a young age that you're going to need to be able to take care of family and to survive and to thrive moving forward into the future. And I want to be clear about what I mean here because I don't want anybody to clip me out of context. Do I necessarily support kids working at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old like they were working back in the day? No, okay, I don't support that, okay, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a man, especially a young man, starting to work at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old, okay? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, okay? That is what I mean, gaining those skills at a young age. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? It puts some hair on your cojones, okay? And I think we need more of that, not less of it, we need more. And that's what Republicans are trying to do in Florida in regards to allowing kids to work more, okay? Expanding the amount of hours that they can work. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Is the state of Alabama the we? And is that the why? I mean, you're also a white guy. Are you saying the we is white folks need more kids? Is this like a great replacement thing where you're concerned that there's not enough white people in the population versus the growth of the Latino population, the black population, the Asian American population, and so the we is white people?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, when we're talking about the we're talking about the population overall, because the population overall is stagnating. But when you talk about why that's happening, if you look at the ethnicities in the races, I mean, you're talking about the decline in birth rates among whites that is contributing the most to the stagnation of population growth, and that's a problem. So even if he is saying that, well, white people need to have more kids, which I think is true, along with the fact that, I think everybody should have more kids if you're responsible, right? I think a more accurate way to frame this would be, well, more responsible families need to have kids. We need more traditional nuclear families to have kids. I think that, that's true, right? And if that includes white people, then, I think that makes sense, okay? And even if he's saying flat out white people need to have more kids, what's wrong with that? Because if you say black folks should have more kids, is anybody going to look at you and say that's hateful, right? Or anything's wrong with that? In fact, if you say the opposite, they're going to say that's hate, right? So what's wrong with saying that white people should have more kids? I personally think that all responsible people of all races should have more kids. But when we look at, again, why we have the population issue that we have, the stagnation of it, it really does come down to white people not having enough kids. So yeah, I think white people should have more kids, right? I think all responsible adults and families should have more kids, right? I think that's something that people should be striving towards. I think that's a better solution than trying to import a new population in order to help sustain ourselves. But again, it's amazing how she makes this some type of gotcha, because ultimately what she wants is to guilt white people into believing that it's not okay to say that white people should have more kids, when it's totally fine. It's totally okay to say that. Just like it's totally okay to say that Asians should have more kids, or Latinos should have more kids, or black people should have more kids. It should be fine to say white people should have more kids. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But again, they want you to feel bad about it, because at the end of the day, what we're seeing in regards to what's happening to our population, Joy Reid likes that, right? This is what she supports. Again, it's funny how this works.
Need to make white women have more kids, and that's the we, and that's the why, because it's a little creepy. A little Handmaid's Tale, don't you think?
I don't think it's creepy. I think what's actually creepy is, instead of encouraging Americans to have more kids, wanting to import a new population of people into the country to deal with the population issue, I think that's actually more creepy than just saying that, hey, we should need to be promoting nuclear families and having more children, right? That's more creepy to me. Why would you want to import a whole bunch of people that you don't know anything about into the country? No other country on earth does that, right? No other country on earth does that, except in the West. That is, okay, we tend to do that in the West, and it just so happens that Western countries tend to be the most white, okay? And, they are experiencing issues with population, right? Population growth. And I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing some of these soft on immigration policies from the left, is because this is their solution for dealing with the population stagnation problem. But that's not the right solution, right? The right solution really is to reverse course on this progressivism that has disincentivized the nuclear family structure in having children, and to actually go back to the traditional values and culture that we had that did incentivize strong families and having more children. I think that's how you actually solve the problem, is having Americans reproduce more instead of trying to import a new generation of people, a new population of people, in order to continue to have that sustained population growth. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.